Hi, my name is Jennifer. Welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I'd film a book haul. I seem to have acquired quite a few books recently. A lot of these are secondhand, to be fair. Lots I bought in one secondhand shop in particular. Some I've got in a book swap at work. Some I bought new when I went on a booktuber meetup in London. The first one I just want to mention is this very morning I called into the independent bookshop right by us and I picked up a blind date with a book. So I don't know what this is, but we'll open it together at the end of the video. I'll tell you what the description says and see if you can figure out what it might be. So it says classic fiction, murder, destruction, vivid descriptions and complex characters. It feels like a pretty short book. I'd say definitely sort of under 200 pages. So we will open that together at the end of the video. So the first, there's about 20 books in total. There's a lot of books. So the first 11, I think I picked up in one particular second-hand bookshop. So I went into town in Liverpool, I think it was last month. I had an appointment and it was sort of in a part of town that I don't normally go to, like right in the centre, but just in a certain direction. That I would just never really walk unless I had a purpose to go there. So as I was walking back down into the train station in the snow, this second-hand bookshop appeared by my side as if by magic. I think I did know it was there and I think I have been in before, but we're talking like probably over 15 years ago. So I thought, oh, I'll have a little look. I'll just have a quick look. And it was great. It was over 2 floors. There was just books everywhere. It was so good. I was in there for quite a while, carrying around like a massive stack of books. I had to sort of narrow it down in the end. I had to sort of put some back on the shelf. And someone actually came up to me because they thought I worked there and asked me where a certain section was. And I was able to help them. So, you know, that was nice. So I got quite a few classics. We'll start with those. First of all, I have never owned a Penguin cloth-bound classic until now. This is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. So I will say this is probably not the most sort of exciting cover of all of the cloth-bound classics because it is brown with these sort of pinkish scissors. But Little Women is a book that I have read before. I read it several times as a child, but probably not since then. And I've been thinking in the last sort of couple of years I'd quite like to revisit it and probably read it around Christmas time because of course it does open at Christmas. So this is in pretty good condition. The what do you call it? What's this called? The ribbon is a bit frayed, but like that's fine. So I'm very happy to have a nice Penguin cloth bound on my shelf. They also had quite a lot of these. I don't know what are these editions called? Penguin English Library editions. And I picked up not one, not two, not three, but 4 of them. They actually had more. I had to restrain myself. So first is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson, which is a book I've been meaning to read sort of in October over the last couple of years. I never sort of got round to it, so I thought I would pick this up. It's super short, and this copy contains a short story as well, so the book itself is even shorter than what this looks like. So I'm going to read this in October. And then I picked up 2 Sherlock Holmes short story collections. So The Adventure of the Engineer's Thumb and Other Cases, and The 5 Orange Pips and Other Cases. And I also picked up an Edgar Allan Poe short story collection, The Murders in the Rue Morgue and Other Tales. Now, I own some Sherlock Holmes short story collections already, and I do own an Edgar Allan Poe short story collection. Luckily, while I was in the shop, my girlfriend was in the house, so I messaged her and asked her to send me pictures of the title pages of the short story collections by these authors that I already own. And so I was there in the shop sort of trying to map across the stories because they don't easily map across like the Sherlock Holmes ones. It's random. Like a lot of them I do have copies of, but not all of them. So I ended up getting them. The Edgar Allan Poe one, there is a lot more stories in this one than the edition I already have. I have already read Murder in the Rue Morgue. But yeah, nice to have these editions for my shelf. I picked up a Persephone book as well while I was there. I mean, I've never heard of this book. This is The Journey Home and Other Stories by Malachi Whitaker. I do like short story collections. I'll show you the end papers because we like to look at Persephone end papers. The blurbs never tell you about much, do they, on Persephone books? but let me have a look. So I think the author, she's from Bradford, and I think she was well known for writing short stories in particular. So yeah, I just sort of had a flick through, and they just seem like the kind of thing I might like, so I thought I would give them a go. Still from the same shop. Where should we go next? Should we go for this one? So I was quite excited to see this one because this is a book which I have picked up at least 2 or 3 times when I've been in Waterstones, and considered buying it new, but something's always sort of held me back. I think I'm just not quite sure if it's going to be for me or not. So when I saw the second-hand copy, I snapped it up, and this is Kiss of the Spider Woman by Manuel Puig. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. So the author was from Argentina, so this is translated from Spanish by Thomas Colchi. Oh, it's got someone has written in it. I don't mind that, to be honest. Oh yeah, there is a few. There's not loads. There's a few little annotations. That's fine. When was it first published? The 70s, I think. So it's about, I think it's set in a prison. I think it's queer. I don't know much else about it, but I've heard it's very good. So there we go. In the bookshop, they also had quite a lot of sort of like golden age crime fiction. So they had a lot of Agatha Christie's, lots of different sort of types of editions. And I picked up 2 books by Edmund Crispin. So Edmund Crispin, I've read 2 of his books before. The Moving Toy Shop, which I think is his most famous book, and Swan Song. So these 2 are Love Lies Bleeding and The Case of the Gilded Fly. So that's a Gervais Fenn mystery, who is one of the sort of main characters in a lot of his books, and this one is as well. So yeah, they can join my little sort of golden age shelf of to be read, which is just here, this one there. I picked up also In a Glass Darkly by Sheridan Le Fanu. So I have read Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu a couple of years ago. I really enjoyed it. So this, I think, is, I don't know if it's short stories or like, because this looks like it contains Carmilla, which I know is a short book. So I don't know if it sort of is classed as like a few novellas smushed together or what, but anyway, sort of, I'm hoping for lots of sort of gothicness. So yeah, that was good. And then the final book from that bookshop. So upstairs at the back, they had quite a lot of French books, so in French, not translated. So I thought I would pick up one of them. So this is L'Ami de Madame Maigret by Georges Simenon. So this is a crime fiction novel in the Maigret series written by Simenon. So the books are set in and around Paris. The blurb doesn't actually give too much away. My French, I will say, is probably rudimentary at best. But I seem to have like 2 or 3 French books up there, I think. They're like, they're top shelf, not likely to be read anytime soon, but I thought I'd pick that up. So that was all the books from that one shop. My bag was heavy on that day. Right, where should we go to next? I'll talk about this one. So every month I go to a book fair with my dad, and there's a local bookshop to where he and my mum live, and they like host this little book fair, and they take some of their stock along. So I think it's all second hand. They have a lot of like non-fiction, local history, some kids books and just random stuff. So anyway, I found this book, which is one of my most exciting book purchases ever, actually. And this is a lovely edition of Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. So I love Anne of Green Gables. It's one of my favourite books. It was my sort of favourite book as a child. I've read it many, many times. I think I now own 4 copies of it. Like, I don't purposely set out to collect copies of it, but they just sort of come into my life. So this is a really, really lovely, lovely edition. Let me show you. So see, like, the You know, like the title headers just look really nice. Oh, I'll show you what that is in a minute. And it has some pictures throughout as well. So I think the pictures are really, really lovely. Let's find another one, shall we? See? So this was a Reader's Digest edition that I think was published in the 90s. And within it, it actually still has this little like leaflet which talks about, which is from Reader's Digest. It talks about Anne of Green Gables, it talks about Ella Montgomery, the illustrations in this edition. I've not actually like read this fully yet, but I thought it was really nice that like that was still with it. So yeah, super pleased with that. It cost me £2. Just absolutely thrilled, so thrilled. So that was that. Then in work we had a book swap. We do a book swap every so often with our book club. I picked up 2 books. I think I took 4 or 5 that I was happy to unhaul, and picked up 2. So that's good. That means the numbers are going down. The first book I picked up I had never heard of before, but since picking it up I've heard a couple of people mention it. It's The Love of Singular Men by Victor Herringer. Translated from James Young from, I think, Portuguese presumably. The author was from Brazil. So this was first published in 2016. So this is set in Rio in the summer. It's about 2 teenage boys who discover a new kind of tenderness, but an act of violence will shatter their intimate world and change the trajectory of their young lives. I feel like it might be quite emotionally demanding. That's the vibe I'm getting. But I think it's like quite highly praised. Oh, it's got there's a little picture in it. Like a little drawing. Oh yeah, there's more. The author died sadly very young. So yeah, I feel like this might be sort of quite a difficult read, but I'm really pleased that I picked it up. So that was that one. And the other book I picked up at the book swap is Dinosaurs, a novel by Lydia Millett. I recognised the cover. I have heard someone on BookTube mention this book. Don't know who. I don't even know if they liked it or not, but I just recognised the cover and I was like, okay, I think I'll pick this up. The person who'd brought it in for the book swap said, I think she said it was like her favourite read of last year, and one of her friends had read it and it was their favourite read of the year. So I picked it up. I don't know what it was about. Let's have a look. It's a story of a man who walks from New York to Arizona to recover from a failed love. After he arrives, new neighbours move into the glass-walled house next door and his life begins to mesh with theirs. Warmly textured, dryly funny, philosophical. Don't know. We'll see. We'll see. And then another book that I picked up from work. This is really lovely. So, balanced on top of a hand gel dispenser in the corridor, I saw a parcel. This is in work, and it was wrapped in this brown paper, and it says "Open me" with a big smiley face, and it says "Random Acts of Kindness." Now, I realised afterwards I think it had been Random Acts of Kindness Day the weekend before. This was on a Monday, I'm pretty sure. So I was like, oh, what's this? So I opened it, and it was a copy of The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse by Charlie Mackesy. Mackesy, is that how you pronounce his name? Like lovely, hardback copy. So I think it was like a HR thing as part of like wellbeing stuff. They were leaving copies around the campus. I work at university, so it's really lovely, and it had like a little, I don't know if it's still in there, it'll be around somewhere, like a little note inside it, which like was just like really nice. I have read this before, like a few years ago, but it's a book that you can definitely revisit, can't you? And I think this just was so lovely, so lovely. So that was that. Next, we're getting through them. So I did get some book vouchers for Christmas, which I haven't finished spending actually, I don't think. But when I went into town shopping like a month ago, that morning I had watched Anna Marie from Actual Spinster's favourite books of last year video, and she mentioned this book and it reminded me that I really wanted to read it. So I was like, right, I'm going to look for it in Waterstones, and it was there. And it's Intimacies by Katie Kitamura. Now, I've read A Separation by Katie Kitamura a couple of years ago. Really, really loved it. Intimacies, I think, is about an interpreter who works at The Hague. So I think it sort of is a lot about translation, the act of translation, but also violence as well. I'm not too sure about the plot. It's meant to be very good. I really enjoyed the author's previous novel, so really looking forward to reading that. And translation and sort of language is something I am quite fascinated by anyway, so really, really looking forward to that one. Next, I went on a booktuber meetup a couple of weeks ago, which was so exciting, in London. It was a very long day for me. I had to go up at 5 o'clock. And I didn't get home till gone 9:30. So it was a long day, but it was worth it. It was so exciting. I had the best day, met so many lovely booktubers, many of whom I sort of knew already and watched from watching their videos, and then some who I wasn't aware of before, so I found some new people to follow. It was the best day. I picked up 4 books. So the first 2, where did I get these from? I think it was Brick Lane Bookshop. I do have a... Yeah, it was Brick Lane Bookshop. So the first one is Short Stories in Brazilian Portuguese by Ollie Richards. So this is a short story collection for beginners, learning Brazilian Portuguese, and it's got like little exercises at the end of each story. I am learning Brazilian Portuguese on Duolingo. So I thought this might just like make a nice change. I really like reading short stories, I mean anyway, but on Duolingo, but there's not that many on there, and I've read them all many times, and I just prefer reading short stories as a way of getting to know the language rather than just doing like the normal Duolingo exercises, if that makes sense, because it's just more interesting, right? So yeah, so I picked that up. Then, and this is very exciting, I was so excited to see this. I picked up Pedro Páramo by Juan Rolfo. Now, I first heard about this book from Seb at Apocalypse Reading a couple of years ago, I think. And it was on my radar as being a book I wanted to read. It's I think it's a Mexican classic. So it is a Mexican classic. It was first published in the 50s. And I don't know too much about the plot, but I think it's set around this town where, I don't know if they're like actual ghosts, but there's something ghostly, there's some connection to the afterlife. I'm not entirely sure, but it's meant to be very, very good. So I was pleased to find this because obviously I wanted to read it. This is a really lovely like naked hardback edition in pink with like the purple images on it. But more excitingly, this is not translated, so this is in Spanish. So yeah, super, super happy to find this. I don't know if it's just like where I live, but you don't find books in other languages very easily, really. So really, really pleased to find this. Spanish, out of all the languages I know some of, Spanish would be the one I'd be most proficient in. So I mean, I'm sure I'll have to look up a few words, but, you know, I'm going to give this a good go. I think the book itself must be really quite short. I think it's only maybe like, is it not much over 100, 150 pages? Because there's a very long, so the introduction takes up like that much of the book. So I will not read the introduction until after I have read the book, obviously, because I don't want to be spoiled, but so pleased to find that. Then in the Common Press, which is a queer bookshop, I picked up Little Fish by Casey Plett. This was another one that was influenced by Anna Marie from Actual Spinster. I'd heard her talk about this quite recently, and I know she enjoyed it and it sounded good, so I thought I would pick it up. So it's set in, is it set in Canada? And I think it's sort of about transness and family. Yeah, it just sounds good. I think it's meant to be pretty pretty good. So yeah, and this is like, you know, sometimes books just feel nice. This just sort of, it's a slightly different, I feel like it's a slightly different shape to a lot of sort of paperbacks. It just feels very nice. It was quite expensive as well. So I hope I like it. I'm sure I will. And then the final book that I picked up on the Booktubers day out in London was from a charity shop. So there's a few of us who were just on our way back to the train station, and we saw a charity shop, so we thought, we'll just have a quick look at the books. And I saw this, and I couldn't resist. And this is Fingersmith by Sarah Waters. This is a perfect edition. Has never been read before. It cost me £2. I love Fingersmith. One of my favourite books. Obviously, I love Sarah Waters. You may be saying to yourself, but Jennifer, surely you own a copy of Fingersmith already. And you'd be right, I do. I own this copy of Fingersmith. This is another one that I did pick up secondhand a couple of years ago. So these are different editions. I like both the editions. If I had to pick, I probably would go for the one with the like the photo art on, but I do really like them both. And this is in much better condition than this one, and I just love this book. So I'm going to keep both these copies because I want to. So there you go. So that was the book haul. Somewhere, I mean, where I don't know where the blind date with the book's gone in amongst all these. Here we are. There it is. Oh, there's a lot of books. Should we see what this is? So I don't know what this could be. I mean, it's entirely possible it might be something I've read before. Classic fiction, murder, destruction, vivid descriptions and complex characters. I honestly don't know what this could be, so we'll have a look. Let me know what you would guess this to be. Let's see. Exciting. Oh. It's Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. So exciting! Okay, I'm actually so excited right now. This is another one of these Penguin English Library editions. I love Frankenstein. It's one of my favourite books. It's actually one of my favourite books ever. It's probably my favourite classic. I do own a copy, which I thought I'd lost, and I found it the other day. It's somewhere back there. It's not as nice a copy as this. So let's see. Classic fiction, murder, destruction, vivid descriptions and complex characters. Yeah, absolutely. So even though I have read it before, even though I do own a copy, like, I'm super happy to have another copy, and this is really lovely. That's so exciting. I'm honestly so excited by that. Oh, love Frankenstein. It's just so good, isn't it? I've read it twice now. Yeah. Excellent. So I need to put these books away now. I don't know where they're going to go. But yeah, let me know if you've read any of them, if you've got any thoughts. And thanks for watching. I hope you're well, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Bye.